iPhone 15 Pro Max, the top of the line, the absolute monster that Apple uses to flex on everyone, will be fighting against the old man, the 14 Pro Max. And you have the full right to say, why? Why would the two fight? Like, isn't the 15 Pro Max the new one and therefore the better one? Well, not necessarily, at least this year. You see, the 15 Pro Max sounded incredible on stage with so many great changes. It is finally more comfortable to hold, lighter, faster, has USB-C, better cameras. However, the moment that the phones arrived to tech reviewers, things started to take a turn.
Here's some of the stuff that, well, I don't like.
I was really disappointed.
It's the same phone as last year with USB.
It's just a bit icky.
The battery life on this is not good.
So that made me think, what if you find a really good deal on the 14 Pro Max? Let's say $700, $800 instead of $1,200 for the 15 Pro Max. Is the 15 Pro Max still worth it? Or is the 14 Pro Max still a great phone and a better value for money? Well, let's put that to the test, because it's not as clear as you might think it is, since the 15 Pro Max has one or two things, which I will get into in a sec, that might give it the lead. The two phones will fight against each other over the 6 major changes that were recently introduced. But when I tried to run the fight, I came across a very big problem. Just realized I don't even have a 15 Pro Max to compare it to the 14 Pro Max. So will I be able to give a fair judgment? And I thought, I have the 14 Pro Max since launch, and that phone isn't really that different from the 15 Pro Max. If I watch enough reviews to get a sense of the new features, I'll probably be able to give an accurate judgment. And so that's what I did. I spent countless hours over the past few weeks watching every review, every camera comparison, every battery comparison, every benchmark comparison, and everything about the 15 Pro Max to help me judge the winner of today's battle. So let's start with the first of the 6 things that changed this year, the design. I was honestly very positive about it because it's a lot lighter and a lot more comfortable to hold, unlike my 14 Pro Max, which feels like holding a knife or a brick in your hand. Overall, I think this change has been disappointing to say the least, because it has gone a lot weaker, and by that I don't mean the titanium itself, but because it's less flexible, it makes the glass break more easily. And my other complaint which I had with the 14 Pro Max is the fingerprint on the sides, and that didn't go away with the new design. So overall, I would honestly give this one to the 14 Pro Max, because if you ask most people, most of them will get the stronger phone over the weaker phone. And I was surprised of how many people online were thinking of buying the 15 Pro Max, and just because they saw the problems with the design, they decided to stay with the 14 Pro Max. So it's now 1-0 for the 14 Pro Max, which is not a good start for the 15 Pro Max. So I'm wondering if it will actually lose, because that would be embarrassing. The next change was the 15 Pro Max, of course, has the A17 Pro chip, which is a lot faster because it's built on 3nm technology and has upgraded graphics. And Apple claimed that this will make the phone able to run really demanding games like console level games, which is kind of crazy. But if we zoom out a bit and see the bigger picture, this basically means nothing, because these games will take ages and ages to be developed. If we see it from the developer perspective, developers will develop apps and games for the largest number of people at the same time, and so there aren't that many people who have their 15 Pros. So don't get me wrong, any improvement to the chip is great and very welcome, but this is simply too early to make any change, and it's also making the phone overheat, basically unusable. The good thing is that Apple has acknowledged this, and they said they are working on fixing it. Personally, I would give this category a draw, because although it's not a good start, hopefully it's going to be fixed and it will be a good overall change in the future. The third change was the port. The iPhone 15 now has USB-C, which I was a big fan of, because I would love to have one cable that charges everything and will also allow it to connect to a lot more things and accessories compared to Lightning. But I was actually really surprised when I saw people online complaining about this. Oh no, it's now a new cable and I have to get a new cable now and new accessories. And I was like, what? Who cares? It's a good change overall and everything should be USB-C already. But when I thought about it and saw the bigger picture, I think those people do have a point. Apple simply took too much time. Everyone have already invested into their accessories. The average person simply doesn't really care, because to them it's simply just a cable that charges their phone. It's just not that big of a change. And because we all use the wireless methods, which are MagSafe and AirDrop, because they are very convenient, just like how it would be very convenient time to tell you to subscribe if you like the video, and let me know in the comments down below which one would be the winner today. And after seeing how the USB-C didn't change the charging speed, this change overall is a bit disappointing. And although, as I said, I'm a big fan of USB-C and would welcome this change, but seeing the other side of the argument, I would have to give it a draw. If we go to the next category, which is battery life, the 14 Pro Max had a good battery life overall and was lasting me around 10 hours a day, which is plenty, and it would never run out of charge in one day. And from Mr. Who's the Boss testing, it looks like the 15 Pro Max has a lot better battery life than the 14 Pro Max. So in this category, the 15 Pro Max wins. And just to recap, it's now a draw overall. So let's see if the last two categories will decide the winner. Change number 5 was the action button, which was cool to see that Apple giving their customers more customization, but the button is in a very awkward position and really hard to reach, and it's less convenient than a simple switch. So I don't know, some people said they like it, some people said it's basically a worse mute switch, so I have to give it a draw. But what's not a draw is the last category, which is the camera. Now when it comes to camera, the 15 Pro Max just blows the 14 Pro Max out of the way. It has a bigger main sensor, it has so many software features like the auto portrait and better low light performance and the ability to shoot in log and the new 24 megapixel resolution. All of these small improvements here and there did actually add up to a better camera overall. And although the 5x is subjective and some people like the 3x and some people like the 5x, overall the 15 Pro Max has to win the camera category. So this was the breaking point for the 15 Pro Max, and it actually won overall, but that still doesn't quite make it the better value for money. I mean, at this point it's probably now fully up to the buyer. Do you really value the fact that you can get 12 hours instead of 10 or 11 hours and a slightly better camera with slightly more zoom, and the fact that you have USB-C instead of Lightning, and you would actually pay $400 for it? If not, then you're probably better off sticking with the 14 Pro Max, just like how I did. But that might not be for long. To see why, watch this video about why I regret switching to the Apple ecosystem, and thank you for watching.